Hey everyone, and welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network. Thank you so much for tuning in here with me today. I am your anchor, Alyssa Ashe, and I'm going to bring you guys live updates of Hurricane Lane in Hawaii. Right now, Hurricane Lane is causing a lot of flooding, and there was even a fire on Maui. So I'm going to keep you guys updated, show you some live radars. We're going to go through some articles, and of course, I want to hear your feedback as well. So if you guys have any information that I might not have yet, please send it to my Twitter at Alyssa RSBN, and I will put that up so you guys can see it. And it is right here at Alyssa RSBN. So make sure to send information to my Twitter there. Thank you all that have been hanging out in the chat room, waiting. Really appreciate you guys. Some of our fantastic moderators, RSBN moderator, or Mod Mom is here, Barbara Braley, Webster Cal, and Real Frank in Florida. Thank you guys so much for joining. And we also have some of our members here, Lily Hager, Miss Deborah, and JC, two-time loser. Wow, thank you guys so much for joining. Really appreciate you, and just love seeing the community over in the chat room on YouTube. And if you're watching on one of our other social media platforms, Facebook or Periscope or Twitter, welcome. I hope you guys are all doing well too. C, two-time loser. And I'm just checking some audio right now. Sorry, I had a couple videos up. Okay, but I'm going to switch over, and first I'm going to show you guys a live feed from AccuWeather so you can really just see the direction that the hurricane is taking right now. Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me send that back so that you guys can see it. Okay, should be coming in now. Yes, there you go. Sorry about that. So you can see the direction that Hurricane Lane is taking. It is still traveling northwest. And you can see it's mostly gone past Hawaii, the big island, and has caused a lot of flooding there. And so I'm going to be showing you guys some different statements and updates just about the destruction that Hurricane Lane has caused so far. So make sure to stay tuned. And like I said, if you have anything I may have missed, send it to me on Twitter at Alyssa RSBN. And I'm going to fix my screen here real quick. I was adding a new little hurricane background. There we go. So you can see the direction that Hurricane Lane is heading. This animation shows Hurricane Lane spinning just southwest of the big island of Hawaii on Friday, August 24th, 2018. So the worst of it is expected to hit tonight and then some tomorrow as well. So it's going to go all through Saturday. Okay, and I'm going to pull up some more updates for you guys. So I'm going to go through some information from ABC News and then show you guys some pictures that they were able to get. So as Hurricane Lane lurches north, the Category 2 storm has already dumped more than 31 inches of rain on Hawaii's Big Island, bringing catastrophic flooding. The dangerous storm could even lead to landslides or mudslides, and rainfall rates in the outer bands of the hurricane may reach 1 to 3 inches per hour, meaning flash flood watches will remain in effect through late Friday. Lane, which is moving very slowly, is expected to remain a hurricane for the next 12 to 24 hours, but increasing wind shear could weaken the storm more quickly over the next 2 or 3 days. The storm is forecast to pull away from Hawaii by late Saturday. And before the rough winds and torrential rains set in, Hawaiian residents and visitors flocked to stores to stock up on food, water, and gas. And I will show you guys some pictures of that and video as well. So this is kind of small, but if you can see it here, it's from Hawaii DOT. Work continues on Saddle Road above Hilo between MM 10.5 and 11. Water is currently 2 to 3 feet deep. So you can just see just how deep that water is here as they're trying to do work. You can see the construction in the background just trying to get rid of all this water. And this is from JT Correa, and he said downtown Hilo, full video in my bio. This is an overhead view. You can just see the effects of the flooding. So no sound here, but you can see just how bad the flooding is. So you can see Hawaiians here are shielding themselves from the wind in front of a store stacked with sandbags in preparation for Hurricane Lane. And you can see it looks like a mother and 2 children watching for the arrival of Hurricane Lane in Hawaii. So like I said, before the rough winds and torrential rain set in, Hawaiian residents and visitors flocked to stores to stock up on food, water, and gas. According to Senator Mazie Hirono, there are 30,000 tourists in the state. And you can see this is from Jonathan Hayden. Tons of people at Costco. He said, calm before the storm, haha, we're all crazy. And some empty shelves by Ben Nishimoto. He said, empty shelves and plenty of people at Target. This is what happens when a Cat 5 threatens one of the world's most geographically isolated chains. And this was a couple days ago, actually. But you can see just completely empty shelves. Looks like they got their pineapples. Wow, definitely glad they're prepared. So the hurricane shuttered public schools and prompted evacuation centers to open in all 4 counties. Over 1,500 people have sought shelter, and more are expected to do so, according to American Red Cross officials. Water, meals, and generators are being delivered to the islands, officials said, and businesses and homes are being boarded up. So President Donald Trump said he authorized an emergency disaster declaration to provide support to Hawaii. And he tweeted Thursday, our teams are closely coordinating with the state and local authorities. You are in our thoughts. And according to ABC News, it is rare for hurricanes to hit Hawaii, An area of high pressure that sits to the northeast of the islands typically steers hurricanes away. This high pressure is the strongest from May through October, which is also prime hurricane season. The Hawaiian Islands are also surrounded by cool water, and tropical cyclones need ocean water temperatures to exceed 80 degrees to strengthen. The last hurricane to make landfall in Hawaii was Iniki in 1992. Lane would be third on the record. In Category 1, Hurricane Dot hit in 1959, and catastrophic Category 4 Iniki came ashore in 1992. Both made landfall on the island of Kauai, and Category 1 Hurricane Iowa also had a major impact on Kauai in 1982, but because its eye did not hit the island, it wasn't officially counted as making landfall there. So let's see, just got a comment from Denise Bissell. She said, lived there and always had plenty of water, canned foods, etc. 365 days a year. See how many people are not prepared. Thank you, Denise, for sharing that. Okay, and I want to check for you guys and show you President Trump's tweet. Okay, you can see right here. He said, I have authorized an emergency disaster declaration to provide Hawaii the necessary support ahead of Hurricane Lane. Our teams are closely coordinating with the state and local authorities. You are in our thoughts. And some updates. So, because President Trump declared it a state of emergency, FEMA prepared with food supplies for Hawaii ahead of Hurricane Lane. So the U.S. Federal Emergency Management Agency is closely monitoring Hurricane Lane and is prepared to assist those affected by the storm by employing barges filled with food, water, and other supplies, the agency said on Thursday. So the federal agency moved the supplies into the region ahead of Hurricane Hector, which skirted past the islands more than a week ago. The agency has had a team on Hawaii's Big Island for months after Kilauea volcano began erupting, according to FEMA Administrator Barack Long in a telephone news conference Wednesday. So Hurricane Lane is forecast to move dangerously close to Hawaii sometime between Thursday and Saturday, bringing damaging winds, prolonged heavy rainfall, and life-threatening flash flooding. And we've already seen some of that, according to the National Weather Service. And then I have a statement from FEMA that I'm going to share with you guys. They said, as we respond to Hurricane Lane approaching Hawaii, here's a video explaining how we and our partners focus on the most critical areas in a community.
Hi, I'm John Raven with FEMA. As a coordinating agency, we ensure federal response and resources are focused on maintaining and restoring the most critical services crucial to human health and the safety of the community. The areas of focus are safety and security, food and water, health and medical, energy and power, communications, transportation, and hazardous waste. Each of these areas are closely connected and overlapping. One area affects the other. In Hawaii, FEMA and other federal agencies have deployed teams that are embedded and working closely with the state, local governments, and the private sector. We are focusing our response on supporting the stability of these critical areas. Remember, disaster preparedness is everyone's job. Listen to your local officials. Now is the time to act. Don't wait. For more information, visit ready.gov. Thanks, and stay safe.
And then they said today's update on the response efforts for Hurricane Lane. Federal resources are deployed and working closely with the state, local governments, and the private sector. And it looks like I got a couple tweets from you guys. Thank you so much, JC, for sharing these with me. I'm going to pull them up real quick. Really cool. He shared a tweet actually from CNN right here. I'll show you guys. This is what Hurricane Lane looked like from space. Very cool. Thank you for sharing, JC. Wow, and another really good article I'm going to share with you guys after we finish this one. So shelters are being opened statewide for those needing to evacuate flood zone areas. And FEMA also tweeted tips for hurricane preparedness, including protection for homes. And FEMA's public service handle tweeted, cover all your home's window. Permanent storm shutters offer the best protection for windows. Hurricane Lane has weakened to a Category 4 storm as it approaches Hawaii. All public schools will be closed for the rest of the week in anticipation of the storm. So a great article JC shared with us. Hurricane Lane lashes Hawaii, 5 tourists rescued from flooded home. Wow, thank you for sharing, JC. We can check this video out real quick. So you can see just the amount of rain and flooding. And this is from Global News. It goes on to say sirens wailed while workers piled sandbags in front of hotels, and police blared warnings to tourists to leave the world-famous Waikiki Beach as Hurricane Lane barreled north after dumping nearly 2 feet of rain on Hawaii's mostly rural Big Island. Emergency crews rescued 5 California tourists from a home they were renting in Hilo after a nearby gulch overflowed and it flooded Thursday. And I'll show you guys this video. Wow, you can see the car going through flooded waters. So definitely crazy. Lots of flooding there. So Suzanne Demarius said a tiny waterfall and small stream flowed near the home when she first arrived with 4 of her friends from the Los Angeles area, but the stream turned into a torrent and the river rose rapidly over 24 hours. Hawaii County firefighters who were in touch with the home's owner decided to evacuate the group before the water rose further. They floated the 5 out on their backs, Demarius said. And she said it was quite an experience because we weren't planning to have a hurricane during our vacation time. And Hurricane Lane, whose center was still offshore, lashed the Big Island with nearly 50 centimeters of rain in about 24 hours. It had maximum sustained winds near 193 kph, making it a Category 3 hurricane. Thank you so much, JC, for sharing that. Really appreciate you. Okay, and backing up a little bit, I'm going to check that last tweet you sent me. This is from I Am For Him on Twitter. Hurricane Lane just below Rainbow Falls, Hawaii. Jaw-dropping flash flood down the Wailuku River near Hilo.
This is going way up, I hope you know. Look at how small the waterfall is getting. This is going to be dangerous here. Volcano, most certainly. We are just in the beginning of this flash flooding event here, just upstream from Hilo. All of this is flowing down toward that Bayfront region.
So you can see the water pouring in just below Rainbow Falls. Great comment, Craig Gordon. He said, looks like the Amazon. So crazy. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm going to switch back over, check Twitter again, just to see what updates people have sent in. So a new article from the Washington Post. This was just last night. Hurricane Lane, rare major storm, threatens Hawaiian Islands. And this is from Kona, Hawaii. And it says, paradise looks different when a fierce hurricane is raging along its shores. Glittering beaches have emptied, the usual bustle of windsurfers, sun worshippers, and buskers, replaced by sandbags and boarded windows. A vacationing mother looking for rest and relaxation instead tried to comfort her children, telling them that fancy winds might disrupt their long-awaited trip, but that they would be all right. And inside grocery stores across Hawaiian Islands, people were hoarding water, toilet paper, and spam, lots of spam. Hawaii's disaster-weary residents already have endured historic torrential rains, fiery volcanic eruptions, and earthquakes this year. But Category 3 Hurricane Lane, churning off the coast of the Big Island on Thursday, presented a threat unlike any the islands have seen in decades. No hurricane has come this close to the state since Hurricane Iniki in 1992, prompting officials and residents to brace themselves for devastating floods, mudslides, and massive waves that could surge up to 25 feet. And Patrick Manila, one of the shoppers stocking up at a Walmart in Kona on Wednesday night, said, we've had a lot of near missiles, so some people aren't worried, but this one is putting me on the edge. Things could go totally off course, but if it does come straight here, knock on wood, I'll be somewhat prepared. And Manila, 25, has lived in Hawaii his entire life and endured storm warnings in the past, but Lane feels different, he said. Manila already had purchased water in 2 cases of spam the day before, but he worried the stock would not be enough for him and his family. After winching the family's roof to the family trucks, he went back to the market to pick up water filtering devices in case they needed to drink collected rainwater. And he also bought another 4 cans of spam and a 20-pound bag of rice. So residents like Manila have cleaned out grocery store shelves of ramen, water, and canned food and lined up at gas stations, heeding government warnings to fill up fuel tanks and prepare to shelter in place as needed with a 14-day supply of food and water. And Governor David Ige said during an emergency proclamation, he said Hawaii is in danger of being significantly impacted by Hurricane Lane, whether or not the hurricane directly hits the state. And by Thursday morning, there in Kona, the storm was about 200 miles southwest of Kona on the Big Island, carrying winds of 130 miles per hour. And residents of the Big Island saw a major highway shut down by landslides, and a deluge of more than 12 inches of rain left cars stuck in flash floods. And that was all before the brunt of the storm was expected to hit the southernmost Hawaiian island Thursday night. Authorities were warning that conditions were likely to degrade significantly even if the hurricane shifted farther to the west. And sorry if you keep seeing me look over. I am checking the YouTube chat as well, just to make sure you guys don't have any questions while I'm reporting, and going to keep checking Facebook too. Okay, Robert Lowe, I am checking Facebook, so if you have any questions on here, please let me know. Okay, shout out to Pablo over in the YouTube chat. Hope you are doing well. So a lot of you are also asking what's going to happen with Volcano, Kilauea, and Hurricane Lane. So I want to share some information with you guys about that. Okay, and this is from CNBC. So Hurricane Lane versus Kilauea, they are compared to like two monsters passing in a closet. So the rare severe hurricane barreling toward Hawaii with 120-mile-per-hour winds could produce whiteout conditions, life-threatening flash floods, and landslides as it hits the island's still erupting Kilauea volcano, according to U.S. weather officials. And shout out over here to Turbo over on YouTube. Hope you are doing well. Okay. So it also has the potential to increase the intensity of lightning and thunderstorms with Hurricane Lane, according to scientists. So the Category 3 storm is the first true hurricane to hit Hawaii since Hurricane Iniki in 1992, and it arrived just as Kilauea is at its most active, and the volcano has been erupting since May 3rd, but has substantially slowed over the summer, and that's good for Hawaiians as it will dampen the volcano's otherwise potentially severe impact on the storm. So Tracy Gregg, who's an associate professor of geology at the University of Buffalo, said other volcanoes have interacted with hurricanes and the results have been disastrous. Kilauea is being polite in comparison. So volcanic eruptions have the most potential for catastrophe when they are spewing huge columns of ash and gas into the atmosphere, like Mount St. Helens in 1980 or Pinatubo in 1991, scientists say. So Greg said they are putting heat and ash into the atmosphere, and that interacts with the moisture in the hurricane and can cause the ash to glob into little balls while it's still up in the air and fall down essentially as hailstones. And I know you guys were asking why I said that. So Greg, this professor from the University of Buffalo, described it as two monsters passing in a closet. They're really not going to notice each other. They're just going to keep doing what they do. So in 2013, eruptions from Kilauea blew microscopic gases and particles into Tropical Storm Flossie and increased the intensity of thunderstorms and lightning around the storm, according to a 2014 study by the University of Hawaii at Manoa. So the U.S. Geographical Survey said Hurricane Lane could produce whiteout conditions around the lava field as the rain hits the hot molten rock. And Enoch Lev, a volcano scientist at Columbia University's Lamont Doherty Earth Observatory, said the steam caused by the rain hitting the hot lava could affect visibility, especially for helicopters flying around the island. So the steam is loaded with particles and toxic gases such as hydrochloric acid. These gases are called lays and typically occur when lava hits cool ocean water. It's possible that heavy winds could blow the lays from the shoreline back onto the island, Lev said. So while rain from Hurricane Lane is not expected to significantly increase the lays, the hurricane still poses a substantial risk for islanders. And Lane, which slowed down from a Category 4 to a Category 3 overnight, has already dumped more than 31 inches on parts of Hawaii's Big Island as it has slowed to 6 miles per hour. And like I said, if you guys happen to be in Hawaii, if you're dealing with this, if you're on any one of the islands and you've seen the winds, the rain, crazy weather, or any possible landslides, mudslides, please share it with me on Twitter at Alyssa RSBN. That would be so appreciated. Those pictures, those videos, and I'll share them with everyone. So the National Hurricane Center said in a weather advisory, excessive rainfall associated with this slow-moving hurricane will continue to impact the Hawaiian Islands into the weekend, leading to a significant and life-threatening flash flooding and landslides. And I wanted to take a second to update you guys. Maybe if you are, new to RSBN, you're not familiar with who we are, what we do, I wanted to take a quick second to tell you guys about us. So we're a conservative news station, online news station, but we try to be non-biased because we want to give you guys the information and let you decide for yourself what you believe. We want to present the facts to you guys, of course. And so, we're able to do broadcasts like this, breaking news broadcasts, Monday through Friday every night when I'm not away at a presidential rally, which I'll tell you about that in a second. I do nightly news recaps where I tell you about all the news you may have missed throughout the day, a variety of different stories, business, world, local, political, national, and it's a lot of fun. And I love, interacting with you guys, and when you send me stories that you want me to share as well, I always say those out on air, and so I'm really thankful for that. Anyways, so as you can imagine, we travel to political rallies all around the country. You may not have known that, but that's what RSBN became famous for a couple years ago, going to President Trump's rallies and really just showing the crowds, panning the crowd, getting in the middle of the crowd and getting to know people, getting to know, their stories, getting to know their heart, why they're there, why they support the president, their favorite thing about him, if it's their first rally, different things like that. And so it's a lot of fun. And we're really thankful that we are able to go. But as you can imagine, it is very expensive to travel to these rallies. We have travel expenses, we have plane tickets, rental cars, gas if we happen to be driving, food, and it also costs a couple $100 just to have our live unit up and running the day of the rally. So it is very expensive, at a minimum of $5,000 each time. And there are different ways that you can donate to actually help us get there, because at RSBN, we are donor supported. So you can click the YouTube chat. You can click the super chat button, and that's that $sign in the little box down here in the YouTube chat in the bottom left corner. And it's really fun. Your donation comes up in a bright color with your name. And of course, as long as it's appropriate, I will share your message with everyone. But YouTube does get to keep about 30% of that donation, and we keep 70%. So there is another way where we actually get to keep 90% of your donation, and that is through PayPal. And I'm going to show you that real quick on our website. So if you've never been there, it's rsbnetwork.com. So you type rsbnetwork.com, and you can go to the very top and you click donate. And then you can see the different links here. So to donate via PayPal or credit card, you click this first link and you enter the amount, your debit or credit card information, and your contact information. And then you can also donate through Patreon, which is really fun. I'm going to take you guys there real quick. So Patreon is a website where you actually get to become a patron, and that means a monthly donor, and you support us with a set amount monthly, and you get something in return. Fun things like hats, pens, pencils, stickers, t-shirts, just to remember RSBN, to wear us, to represent us, and to, share us with your friends so that they can watch us as well. So you can click Become a Patron here on Patreon, and we're so thankful to all our patrons. Thank you so much for supporting us on a regular basis, and it goes all the way from the entry level to the all access level. Or you can do a custom pledge and support RSBN without selecting a reward. And the last way you can donate, if maybe you're not, as comfortable donating online, we completely understand and respect that. You can actually send a donation directly to our home office here in Auburn, to our P.O. Box. You just write the check out to RSBN, and that address is 1550 Opelika Road, Suite 6, Box 344 in Auburn, Alabama 36830. So we're really thankful for everyone that donates that way as well. We do get to keep, of course, 100% of the check. And I love just, the chance I get to go, the chance that I get every month, every couple weeks with Joe. We go through all the checks, and it's so fun to see your handwritten letters and to see, what you guys really want to see out of RSBN, tips that you may have for us, things that you're thankful for. We're really thankful that we're able to share that with you guys. And now I'm going to go back to that AccuWeather live radar of Hurricane Lane just to show you where it is. And according to AccuWeather senior meteorologist Alex Sosnowski, he said people should be prepared for power outages, coastal flooding, beach erosion, downed trees, and major travel disruptions. So Scientific just commented and said, does anyone know when Trump's rally is and where? The next one, it is in Evansville, Indiana, and it's next Thursday. And we'll be there. So thank you so much, Scientific, for asking. Make sure to tune in with us as we travel to that rally. And I am constantly checking Twitter just to make sure you guys have not sent me any new articles or information, tweets, where you can really see what's going on in Hawaii right now. And it looks like one of our reporters Tom O'Neill sent me another article. This is from KHON2, one of the local stations in Hawaii. And it's one I already shared with you guys, but this one has a little bit more information. So we're going to kind of dive into it. And it is about those 5 tourists being rescued from the flooded home as the storm hits in Hawaii. And like I said, this is from one of their local affiliates there. So sirens wailed while workers piled sandbags in front of hotels, and police blared warnings to tourists to leave the world-famous Waikiki Beach as Hurricane Lane barreled north after dumping nearly 2 feet of rain on Hawaii's mostly rural Big Island. An emergency crews rescued 5 California tourists from a home they were renting in Hilo after a nearby gulch overflowed, and it flooded Thursday. So Suzanne Demarius said a tiny waterfall and small stream flowed near the home when she first arrived with 4 of her friends from the Los Angeles area. What a terrible vacation. That's so heartbreaking. They went to Hawaii. I don't know if they weren't checking the radar before or what, but that can definitely ruin your vacation. So the stream turned into a torrent and the river rose rapidly over 24 hours. Hawaii County firefighters, who were in touch with the home's owner, decided to evacuate the group before the water rose further. They floated the 5 out on their backs, Demarius said. And she said it was quite an experience because we weren't planning to have a hurricane during our vacation time. And Hurricane Lane, which was still offshore, lashed the Big Island with nearly 20 inches of rain. In about 24 hours, it was packing maximum sustained winds of 120 miles per hour, making it a Category 3 hurricane. And forecasters say it will move close to or over portions of Hawaii's main islands later Thursday or Friday, bringing dangerous surf of 20 feet. So about 200 miles north of Hilo, on the state's most populated island of Oahu, employees of Sheraton Waikiki Resort filled sandbags to protect the oceanfront hotel from surging surf. And stores along Waikiki's glitzy Kalakaua Avenue stacked sandbags among the bottoms of their glass windows to prepare for heavy rain and flash flooding. And police on loudspeakers told surfers and swimmers to get out of the water, saying the beach would be closed until further notice. And the Marriott Resort Waikiki Beach in Honolulu designated a ballroom on the 3rd floor as a shelter for guests and began removing lounge chairs from around the pool and bar area. At the Hilton Hawaiian Village, guest Elizabeth Brinson said hotel staff left a notice that rooms will still have water and phone service, and a backup generator would power 1 elevator per building in the event of a power outage. So Brinson, who's a native of the United Kingdom now living in Denver, said many shops were closed and those still open were frantic, with people buying food, beer, and water to take back to their rooms. And she said, we knew it was coming, so I just tried to cram as much as I could into the last few days in anticipation so we could cross things off of our list. And she is accustomed to hurricanes after living in Florida. So Lane was not projected to make a direct hit on the islands, but officials warned that even a lesser blow could do significant harm. Some areas could see up to 30 inches of rain. And United Airlines canceled its Friday flights to and from Maui. The airline added 2 additional flights from Honolulu to San Francisco on Thursday to help transport people off the islands. And Hawaiian Airlines canceled all Friday flights by its commuter carrier, Ohana by Hawaiian. And Hawaii's biggest hotels are confident they can keep their guests safe as long as they stay inside, according to Mufai Hanneman, the CEO of Hawaii Tourism and Lodging Association. So the only concern, he said, is those that venture outside of the properties that would like to hike on a day like this, or who would still like to go into the ocean and see what it's like to take a swim or surf in these kind of waters. But hopefully people will not be doing that. Honolulu shopping malls and office buildings closed early on Thursday and plan to shut their doors Friday. And shelters were open throughout the islands with 350 people in them in Oahu. Aid agencies were also working to help Hawaii's sizable homeless population, many of whom live near beaches and streams that could flood. And because there's not enough shelter space statewide, Hawaii Emergency Management Agency Administrator Tom Travis urged people who were not in flood zones to stay home. And the National Weather Service downgraded the Big Island to a tropical storm warning, meaning it expects sustained winds of 39 miles per hour to 73 miles per hour on the island instead of stronger hurricane force winds. But a hurricane warning remains in effect for Oahu and Maui County. I know you were asking about Maui, Nancy Richardson Hornsey on Facebook, and I will find some more information about Maui. So the Central Pacific gets fewer hurricanes than other regions, actually, with only about 4 or 5 named storms a year. Hawaii rarely gets hit. The last major storm to hit was Iniki in 1992, and others have come close in recent years. But because people in Hawaii are confined to the islands, they have to make sure they have enough supplies to outlast power outages and other potential emergencies. And like I mentioned earlier, because of President Trump declaring this a state of emergency, FEMA moved several barges packed with food, water, generators, and other supplies into the region ahead of Hurricane Hector, which skirted past the islands more than a week ago, according to FEMA Administrator Brock Long. And an update from Eugenia Michael on Facebook. She said, my daughter and her family are in Kauai, so she said it's just windy for now. Very good to hear. Thank you, Eugenia. Please keep updating us over here on Facebook. And for those of you who haven't yet, make sure to tweet me on Twitter at Alyssa RSBN. Okay, and I'm continuing to check those Twitter messages and Facebook and the YouTube comments. So sorry if I'm kind of like all over the place, just trying to multitask here. Want to make sure I answer all of your questions. Okay, and switching back over, since we haven't done it in a while, I want to check Twitter and see if anyone's posted updates. So one from the National Weather Service, Honolulu, it says HFO extends flash flood watch for 28 counties zones in Hawaii till August 25th, 6 p.m. Okay, I'm going to show you guys, going to zoom in here. This is the National Weather Service. The areas in Hawaii that are under watch or warning. It says this is from the issuing office of Honolulu, and it's a flash flood watch. So you can see different areas highlighted in green. Okay, and switching back over. Grace Lee said, hoping Hurricane Lane turns away from us. Let's see, it looks like an update from Civil Beat. This is from Honolulu Civil Beat, and it says Big Island, a windward drenching, but no wind damage yet. So this is from Hilo, Hawaii Island. And it says the outer bands of Hurricane Lane drenched windward regions Thursday, flooding key roads and churning up strong waves, but not inflicting wind damage as of early afternoon. Police issued an alert advising motorists to stay on all roads due to hazardous flooding and runoff. Landslides reduced two sections of Highway 19 north of Hilo to a single lane, police reported. Oconee Pule Highway, Route 270 in North Koala, was also severed by landslides and runoff, according to the State Department of Transportation. And here's a picture here. You can see from the Hawaii Department of Transportation, you can see some of that runoff on the side of the road. So several coastal roads were closed in Hilo, while down south, Kalaiki Road above Nalehu was shut down due to flooding, according to police. And as of 1 p.m., there were no reports of wind damage, said Kelly Wooten of the Hawaii County Civil Defense Agency. By 6:30 p.m., Kona was still reported to be calm. And the entire island remained under a flash flood warning, the heaviest rain having occurred in South Hilo and Puna districts, which saw rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour, according to the National Weather Service, which predicted more heavy rain on the way. An NWS rain gauges collected more than 19 inches in the upper Hilo area of Wakia during the 24-hour period, ending at noon, and nearly 15 inches during the same period at Hilo International Airport, located at the typically drier sea level elevation, and those amounts were consistent with forecasters' early predictions. Rainfall levels, and you can see this picture here. This is a flooded gas station, and stranded vehicles are shown along Hilo's Soggy Bayfront area Thursday morning. So rainfall levels dropped off to 3.5 inches in Kamulea to the north, 4 inches in Pahala to the south, and just 0.1 inches at the Kona International Airport, according to NWS rainfall totals. So the leeward Kona coast was experiencing only mild rain. And Cindy Punahalo said, having some nice weather today in Kona. We are blessed right now. So she said this in an email, adding that the surf was not exceptionally strong. And she said, weather-wise, it's just a lot of rain. And you can see there's a quick break right here between downpours where onlookers are looking at Hilo's flooded bayfront yesterday morning. So in Hilo, a brief respite brought lighter skies and prompted several people to journey to the bayfront area where the 4-lane Kamehameha Avenue and adjacent ball fields were under several feet of water. The situation is not that uncommon, however, as the Alenio Stream flood canal is designed to channel water away from downtown shores, so it follows a natural path through a large open green space left largely undeveloped since the 1960 tsunami. And police man nearby barricades in an effort to prevent motorists from testing the capabilities of their lifted trucks or even unmodified passenger cars. And streetlights at one intersection were out. So traffic was light and several stories were closed, but not boarded up or otherwise protected from possible storm damage. And sandbags could be seen at only a couple businesses. So I'm going to go back to Twitter and we're going to keep going through to see what else is new. Some people tweeting helpful articles, how to survive a hurricane. Okay, and this is from Jesse Beyer Weather, posted just 10 minutes ago. He said, for those folks with a connection to the Hawaiian Islands, Hurricane Lane is still moving southwest of the islands today. Wind currently at 175 kilometers per hour as it moves north at 8 kilometers per hour. Lane should continue to weaken and move out to sea over the weekend. So you can see kind of just a map here. Friday at 6 p.m. expected to travel at 165 kilometers per hour. And Saturday at 6 a.m. 140. Saturday at 6 p.m. going down to 120. And Sunday at 6 a.m. 110 as it moves out to sea. And Sean Nakamoto tweeted out, view from backyard. It's not consistent yet, but winds are getting increasingly stronger. Stay safe, peeps. So you can see just some of the winds there at Mariner's Ridge. And here's a time lapse of the last 10 minutes over Waikiki Beach as clouds roll in. So make sure, if you are the praying type, that you are keeping the people of Hawaii in your thoughts and prayers. I'm going to keep bringing you guys continued coverage, live updates. So Ben Nishimoto shared an article from Civil Beat, which is that local website news organization in Hawaii. And it says many homeless people are choosing to ride out the storm. And Watchman 117, it's Hurricane Lane, if you missed it. Okay. So outreach workers ramped up efforts to alert the homeless about Hurricane Lane, but some opted to stay in encampments. And I'm going to switch this over here. So while I share this with you guys, you can continue to take a look at that live radar. So rain trickled down on central Oahu town of Wahiawa on Thursday, a hint that Hurricane Lane was moving steadily closer. By late afternoon, Lake Wilson began to swell. Rose Coleman, who's an outreach worker with the nonprofit Alea Bridge, descended steps carved out of a muddy slope near the lake to a tent where it turned out a homeless woman was asleep. And Coleman didn't want to wake the woman, who she knew to be deaf, and hoped people from a neighboring camp would look out for her if the storm brought water gushing up toward her encampment. So outreach workers across the state ramped up their efforts to inform unsheltered homeless people about Hurricane Lane's approach. And Coleman and two other outreach workers drove from one homeless encampment to the next. Of the roughly 20 people she talked to on Thursday, just 5 agreed to enter designated evacuation centers in gyms or cafeterias of public schools. And Stanley Puhakenu, whose tent is a few yards from Lake Wilson, lived in Hawaii Beach Park on Oahu's North Shore during Hurricane Iniki in 1992, the last major hurricane to hit the island chain. And he described that storm, which decimated Kauai, as an ordinary day where he was. So there are an estimated 4,495 homeless people living on Oahu and 6,530 statewide, according to the latest point-in-time count. And many plan to ride out the storm in the tent encampments where they live. Such was the case at the Winne Boat Harbor, where 189 of the usual 250 residents of the longtime homeless camp were still residing Thursday near the ocean's edge. And camp leader Twinkle Borg told Civil Beat earlier this week that 28 children from the camp had been relocated to stay with family or friends, but that most of the adults planned to stay. And by 4 p.m. Thursday, 15 people found shelter in the cafeteria of Lahua High School in Wahiawa, and Coleman sat with one of her clients outside, coaxing him to stay put and avoid the liquor store. She said she has 60 to 80 who are homeless or recently housed, all of whom abuse drugs or alcohol. And more than 430 people had entered evacuation shelters across Oahu by Thursday afternoon, according to the city spokesman Andrew Pereira. And the shelters hosted a mix of people, including Oahu residents and tourists looking for a stable place to wait out the storm. And Justin Phillips was one of 12 outreach workers with the Institute of Human Services who combined the streets of Honolulu and windward Oahu this week, shepherding homeless people to their shelters. And at noon Thursday, he leaned against a pillar near a bus stop in the parking lot of Ala Moana Shopping Center, and tourists bustled past, and exhaust rose from the engines of passing buses and cars. He said, "My feet hurt. My feet really hurt." And Phillips estimated he had talked with 100 homeless people over the course of 2 days, and that half had entered the evacuation shelters. Most of the responses, "I'm okay, I'm fine," he said. And Phillips gave out flyers with a list of public schools that double as evacuation shelters and a location where people could board a bus headed for Kamuki Middle School, one of the shelters. And city buses were free for anyone who needed a ride to an evacuation shelter Thursday until 6 p.m. when the bus system ended all regular service for the duration of the storm. And the city also provided buses to evacuate 7 homeless shelters on Oahu, including Hale Maliloa on Sand Island near Honolulu Harbor, and a shelter run by U.S. vets in Waianae, and 30 families living in Kaakui Village, a permanent housing project along the Meats Highway, also evacuated to shelters or left to stay with family and friends. And after a conference call with city officials and homeless service providers Wednesday afternoon, Jason Espero, the director of homeless services for the nonprofit Waikiki Health, decided to prepare all 135 adults who live in Next Step Homeless Shelter to evacuate Thursday morning. And he said, "We're right on the water, literally a stone's throw away. And Next Step is adjacent to Cacao Waterfront Park in downtown Honolulu." And the storm had people living at Next Step feeling jumpy and excited, according to Benito Pelolai, who has lived there for 2 months. And he rode in a school bus that Waikiki Health rented from a local tour company, Roberts Hawaii, and brought with him 2 packs of instant ramen and 2 cans of Vienna sausage. So staff at IHS worked overtime Thursday, pulling out mats to convert the dining room of the Kihi Woman and Family Shelter into a sleeping area. And Kimo Carvalho, a spokesman for IHS, said, "Even if that does fill, we do have space in different pockets of the facility, so no person will be turned away." So great update there that they are taking care of those homeless people. So you can see in the live radar here on AccuWeather that Hurricane Lane is still on the move. Okay, and I think for now we are going to wrap it up, but thank you so much for tuning in, and I will be back this afternoon with more updates about Hurricane Lane, if not another news story, and back tonight for my nightly news recap at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a blast, and make sure you're sending me those stories throughout the day that I can share with everyone. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for updates of Hurricane Lane in Hawaii as it continues flooding the different islands. Please keep all the people dealing with this in your thoughts and prayers that they will stay safe. And I will see you guys soon. Thank you so much for tuning in. And once again, for Right Side Broadcasting Network, I'm Alyssa Ashe. Have a great afternoon.